Hello, good morning, mobile developers. It's yet another session of mobile development. And today, interestingly, we are in week 3, where we'll be tackling object-oriented programming. So OOP is a topic that is in so many languages, Python, JavaScript, you see. So in that, it's also there. So it's a very important topic that I didn't even want many of you to miss. But since you said they are joining, I just hope they join. I just hope they join. Okay. So let me head over to my elements. So I hope no one has an issue with the elements so far. I hope nobody has an issue. I hope nobody has an issue seeing the module and seeing the content. Seeing silence means nobody.
Yes.
You don't have an issue.
Yeah. It's okay.
Okay. Brilliant. So I'm just wait for my module to load display. So here we go. Week 3, object-oriented programming. Let me just start with lesson 1. It's going to be a very not long, but I can say it's lengthy. But I just hope you will concentrate towards to so you just concentrate till the end of it so that you don't miss out on anything. Okay. So here we will understand keywords in OOP. We will grasp the paradigms of OOP and why it's a game changer. So we will also get to introduce factory methods, singletons, mixins, because who doesn't like extra features, These are just extra features of OOP. So OOP that. So welcome to the magical world of OOP. It's all about designing apps using objects. Okay. So in this case, an object is a real world. It's a real world object. Okay. For example, a person, a car, or even a bank account. In OOP, objects have their own attributes like name, color, or age. For example, if you're talking about a person, an object person, a person has a name, color, or even their age. And also they have the behaviors. So we have attributes and behaviors. So behaviors for a person is like walking, talking, or driving. So an object has attributes and behaviors. Just write that down. Okay? Attributes and behaviors. These are just characteristics and the behaviors of a person. So OP isn't just isn't just some fancy concept. It's one of the most popular programming paradigms out there. It's used in Java, Dart, and Python, and even R. So it's a key programming method which is used in many languages, even in Solidity, writing blockchain. It's used there. So why OP is awesome? OP is easy to understand and use. You don't need rocket science here. Reusability. Code once, use it again and again. Do you remember when we did functions? We reused our functions, which made reusability quite calm, clear. It's less complex because nobody likes headaches, so it's less complex. It boosts productivity. You get more done in less time. Teamwork friendly, collaborate like a pro, and it's easier to maintain. Okay, so OP has its own features as well. So some of the features of OP. This is where now we begin very deeper. So we have a class. Okay, a class is like a blueprint for creating objects. Okay, for example, like a recipe for cookies. So a class is a blueprint of an object. What about an object? An object is an instance of a class. Like we had the recipe for making cookies, but now we have a cookie made from that recipe. So you see, this cookie is a result of the recipe, or rather, this object is a result of the class. So an object is an instance of a class. For example, like a cookie made from the recipe. Remember we said that class, this is a recipe for cookies, but now we've made one cookie, which is now an object. Okay? Then we go to encapsulation. These are paradigms. These one we'll just tackle them by code. Encapsulation, wrapping code into neatly packages. Encapsulate. I'm sure most of you have seen maybe a type of medicine called capsules. Let me just show you capsules. So a capsule is usually some medicine that contains some powder inside. See? So you see, the powder is wrapped by this. I don't know if it's plastic. I don't know. But I don't think it's plastic. Yeah. So this one, you encapsulate like the content is inside. Okay. What we are supposed to follow is inside. So we wrap code into little packets. So it's like wrapping. Just that's from the word capsule. Inheritance. Using properties from class. Well, inheritance is a topic that each and every African knows, but maybe some of us are not Africans. So inheritance is whereby people usually inherit from their kin. Okay, whether you are your guardian, or your parents, you inherit a piece of land, you can inherit laptops, electronics, vehicles. You see, so there's a parent of guardian, and there's a child. Okay, so that's inheritance. Polymorphism, one method, many forms. So here we'll have methods, we'll introduce methods, and we'll introduce forms. So poly means many forms of a method. Okay. So abstraction only show the essential features. So here abstraction is like a data hiding. You see, you only show the essential features. You don't have to see everything. Okay, you don't have to see everything. So I hope we introduced it well. Let me see if those guys have come back. Yeah, not bad. I can see they're coming. Emmanuel Limani, tell your friends to come to school. Ivana, George Bitonga, tell your guys to come to school, please. Please, 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 please. This topic is very important. I would not like us to cruise without them. Makora with them. David Makora? Angatia. James Angatia.
Yes, I'm available. I'm available.
Yeah, kindly tell, I can only tell group members here. You don't to pro teacher group member. To me, so a group needs, sorry. You don't have a group or Miriam Adam.
Hi.
Hello, to me, so where are your group leader? Anybody?
Hi. I'm here.
Yes. Sawa, mama, sawa. Acha.
It's a bundle of joy, you know. So I just hope your group members will join us as you proceed because there's no the lose, right? Let me check if my Flutter's points now. But yes. Yeah, so that's it. Those are the paradigms of OP. We will get to know them step by step. Okay?
Yes, Alan,
Yes?
can you repeat on polymorphism? Kindly.
Or polymorphism. Let me show you in a diagram what polymorphism is. Control V diagram. Diagrammatica. Okay? So poly means many, right? So let me just get a quick diagram. Maybe one that's quite relatable. Yeah. So this is a method class. This is a method car. Okay. So car has many forms. A car can be a Maruti, a car can be an Alto, and a car can be a Brezza. So this is a class car with method speed. So the speed of this car can be 60 kilometers for Maruti, can be 70 kilometers for an Alto, and 80 kilometers for a Brezza. I've never had a Brezza. I'm a car person, but I've never seen a Brezza. Yeah. So you can see This car has many forms. You can see. And the method speed has many forms as well. Okay, let's just talk about the form, the method here. The method is speed. You can see speed here is 60, 70, and 80. So it has many forms. So is it not bad now? Is it better? Somebody asked the question. I used to know. Hello. Okay. I just hope you
Yes,
are
hello?
class. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where we have one method that has many forms. It can be speed of 60, speed of 70, speed of 80.
Okay. And the last one?
Which one? Abstraction.
Uh,
No, abstraction.
yeah.
No, this ones we are just going to see them in the code. The codes are there. I just wanted us to just have a rough idea on what abstraction is. All this paradigm. We are going to tackle them in codes. So do you want a diagram for abstraction?
Yes. If possible.
Okay, let me just get one. So abstraction is data hiding. So we have private. Let me just get one. So in this case, we have a car driver who are some of the features here which are private, fill fuel, create spark, move brake pads, change piston. And the public ones are turn on, turn off, accelerate, brake, and gear change. So you can see the private ones here. Uh, these are some of the things that as a driver, you don't always access them all the time. Like these are things that are in the bonnet. For example, create spark, move brake pads, this one is in the wheel, change piston is in the bonnet. But what does this driver access all the time? The driver can turn on the car, the driver can turn off the car, the driver can accelerate, the driver can brake, and the driver can change the gear. So you can see we've hidden this from the driver because they don't need it all the time. Okay? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just hope you have that rough idea, but we're gonna tackle that in code. Don't worry. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So OOP uses objects and their interactions to build programs. So we've seen an object is a real world entity. For example, a human being. For example, a dog, a cat. So objects is equals to data plus methods, actions they can do. Okay. OP is like superpower for problem solving. So OP is just here to solve us problem. So class is in OP. We said a class is a blueprint of an object. And we said an object is an instance of a class. In OOP, a class is like a recipe that defines what an object will be like. So assuming you're cooking some cookies, you're making some cookies, and you have the recipe. So somebody can tell, this guy is just going to make some cookies. From what you're mixing, maybe the dough, maybe with some ice cream, I don't know. Somebody knows how to cook, to make cookies can tell us some of the recipe so that you can relate. Or maybe somebody can just describe one recipe, then you can guess what they are going to cook. Somebody just talk, then you can say, you're going to cook maybe maize, corn, something. Guys, you don't like cooking. How do you eat?
Yes.
Somebody can describe one in short.
1 teaspoon for black pepper, 1 teaspoon cloves, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 1 teaspoon coriander seed. For rice, 2 cups long grain, 1 large onion, 500 beef, 500 grams beef or goat meat, 4 garlic, 1 tablespoon ginger, 2 tomatoes, 2 potatoes, 2 to 3 tablespoon cooking oil, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon turmeric, 2 to 3 teaspoon pilau masala, 4 cups of water or beef broth. That's the recipe.
Right. So who can guess what the guy is cooking?
Pilau and cherry.
Pilau. Pilau.
So he has described a class. Okay. So who can guess the object that we are going to get from that class? Or rather, what is it trying to cook?
Pilau.
Pilau.
Pilau. So fellows like me from West Africa, I don't know if we know really what pilau is. We just like jollof. Yeah. But I hear in East Africa and Swahili coasts, pilau is really good. We will definitely visit you guys and you will give us some of it. Right. So you've just seen how a class is. The guy has described a whole recipe that defines what an object will look like, or rather, what the food will look like. Okay. And our instance of that class is pilau, which now is the object. Okay. Another example is a class named dog might have properties like breed and color. So these are properties which you say they are attributes. These are properties which you say they are attributes. Okay. Or rather, these are characteristics of a dog: breed, color. A dog can have methods like bark or run. Okay. Once you've got a class, you can create as many dog objects as you want. Okay. You can have dogs with different breeds, different colors. Okay. So how do we declare a class in that? How do we declare a class in that? In that programming, you can declare class using keyword followed by class name. Here is a short example. Declaring a class. So class person, you can see when you're writing a class name, ensure that you write it in capitals. Okay, the first letter of the class name should be caps. Properties of a class, which are the characteristics, says string name and int age. Then the constructor, person is dot name is dot age. So constructor is used to show the properties of your class. Okay, is dot name, comma, is dot age. So let's see if we have an example. Yeah, it's actually a whole example, so that you can fail to scroll down. So method to display person details. So we have a method here. A method is a function, okay, that will be displaying the person details. So void display info, we have a function here called display info. We open it and we print name and age, which what is characteristics. So in this case, we've seen what a constructor is used for. Constructor is used to indicate the properties of a class. Then a method is used to display the entire information of a class person instance. So in our explanation there down there, sorry, the class keyword is used to declare a class followed by a class name as well. So we've seen that attributes are properties and behaviors are methods. Okay. So we've seen that constructors are used to show the properties of a class and the methods are used to show the behaviors, or rather to display the details of a person. So I used to write this code. I don't know if my data is finished. It's not yet. Let me use that part. We have an error here. Somebody can tell us where the error is.
There is no main function.
So where do we put the main function?
After the void function, the display info function.
Inside this, we want first put it here. Like this.
No, after the,
Not inside it.
not inside, outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Help us debug it. It seems it's not working. Well, return pattern. So can we use AI to check our error? Okay. Fix our code.
Excuse me, sir. Is it possible to maximize the font?
Yeah. Isn't it?
Is it not because we don't have an actual name and an actual age?
Anybody else? So I want us to I don't know, when you're doing your software essential, why you how to use the app to debug or use it as a code buddy? Is it there?
Yes.
Okay, somebody fix this code for us using AI. Fix it and send it back to us. We just want to ensure that we're using AI because it's inevitable. Somebody vibe code that. No void mains on our acceleration of class.
Okay, number one, I think the strings are not in quotes.
Which strings?
Uh-huh.
I think the string has quotes. Somebody just fix this one.
We haven't called the.
There's no main method.
Okay, just send the right code.
My chat is disabled.
Who is that? Joker.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I think the chat should be enabled. I think people are chatting. Okay, share. You just want to see if your code is running. Are you able to send?
I've sent.
Right. So what did we lack?
This main method, void main. The
Yeah, and
entry
also
point of the program.
yeah, and also we didn't have an object. So we said that an object is an instance of a class, okay? So here we have class person, and there is Alice. So I'm just adding again. So let's use AI as much as possible for our further understanding, okay? Or maybe for code optimization, because I'm sure some of the codes that are a bit longer, and AI can just compress it just to make sure that you don't get confused with too many spaces, too many, just you closing nicely. So we didn't have an entry point of the program, which is main, and we didn't also have an object. So an object is an instance of a class. We said class is person, but now we want the person to, we want now an example of that person, which is Alice, who is that. So let's see what objects are. So an object is an instance of class. I'm sure this will be repeated so many times. It represents a real world entity with attributes. So attributes are properties or characteristics. What do you possess? And behaviors. So behaviors are methods. Objects allow you to create multiple instances of class, each with its own unique data. So we saw in that case we had an instance called Alice, which is one object. We can have many objects of class person. You can have Alice, you can have James, you can have Grace, so on and so forth. So each one with its own unique data. So this concept is so long, I don't know why. Yeah, a bit low. So let me just press this. I don't know, are you able to see the code on your elements? Those of us
Yes.
are able to see. How about our people who are not creating it? We are floating. Let me see. That is great. Sure, we can now code in our Visual Studio. Thank you for your patience. So let's just put that code inside. So I'll just try new file, object, to that. So in this case, we are now talking about an object. Okay, sorry, declaring a simple class in that. So we said when you're writing class, what do? Ensure that the class name is in capitals, start with a capital. So class car, then the car has the following, properties of the class. So we all know that a car has brand, a car has model. Okay. So string brand, we expect the brand to be a string. We expect the string, a model also to be a string. For example, Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. Then here we have a constructor showing class properties, stroke attributes. So a constructor shows the properties of class. So class name into brackets, this dot brand, comma, this dot model. So this is how you write a constructor. Okay, this dot the property. If it had more than one, you put a comma. This dot model. Then in this case, we are going to have a method to show the class information or details. And you say that a method is a function. So a function is used, a method is used to show the, is now, you can use a method here to display the card information or to display the classes information. So we have a function here, void, show details. So it's usually wise to use a function name that's close to what you're doing so that you can at least get it. Okay. Right. So void show details. We all know how to write a function. Inside the function, we are going to print brand. Then we refer to our property, comma, model. Then we refer to our model. Just the way we used to handle remember we used to handle variables. I could just print brand like this. You know, or just print it like this model. Then just try to destroy this code. Do you remember how we used to write variables? That you could just say brand plus model. Okay. We are not going to write the cars name on the cars, but we're just going to refer to the value. But in this case now, just to make our code, cleaner, we are going to concatenate, just to add a string to an external string to our property. So let me just do yeah. So brand full colon, brand model full colon, and our model. Okay, so we are done with our constructor and our method. It's just a simple one. Okay, it's short as that. Sorry. Then now we have a void main function, whereby we are going to create an instance of our class, which is an object. Okay. So what usually happens when you are writing an object? Remember, we are writing an instance of a class. So we are going to refer to the class that we are going to write the instance. Right? For example, here we have our class name called car, and we want to write an object called my car. We want to create an object from class car to be called my car. So car, my car is the object name. Let's just be careful about it. This is the object name. My car is equals to car, which head it's on, Do you remember our constructor? Our constructor is this. Car is the brand, comma, is the model. So as you can see in this case, our object name contains our constructor. So in short, when you're writing an object, you first start with the class name, then now your object name, then now your object name will equal your constructor, which was car, this dot brand, this dot model. So we all know that, okay, maybe you're not a car person, we know there's a car that's called Toyota Corolla. So Toyota stands for brand, Corolla stands for model, which is exactly what we have with number 9 as our constructor. So we've now written our object. Just see how it's written. Then as we've worked with functions, and we've said that for a function to work, you have to call it. You have to call the function. Okay. So we will call the method using the object. We will call our method show details using the object we just created. Okay. So that we can get something like brand, Toyota, model, Corolla. Because in our method, rather in our function, we said just print me something written like this: brand full colon, and now the brand name, comma, model full colon, and the model name. Simple as that. So for that to be executed, the object has to call the method. This object here, my car, is calling the method. My car dot show details. Dot show details. So our show details function was our method, which contained brand and model. And if we run this code, let me give you some 2 minutes to digest this, then you can ask questions. Just take your time.
Can I ask a question?
You can just
So-
observe first. Observe for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, just have a look. Everyone to have a look, kindly. So you can just digest it for like 2 minutes, just 1 minute. Yeah, I think now have you all seen it? How the class is, how the object is written, how the method is written, and how everything unfolds.
Yes.
So I'm open for questions.
No. I wanted to ask, as in classes, every time you call a class or you're creating a class, do you always have to add a function inside the class?
In which line?
Line 11, that's a function inside the class.
Yeah, this is actually a method. Okay. We
Okay.
say that a method shows behaviors.
So can I put like more functionality in the like addition, multiplication, subtraction, like a normal function?
Yeah. Like so long as you're just trying to it's up to you to see what your class should contain. I don't know why my terminal is not showing. Oh yeah. And Toyota Corolla. Just have one. I'm trying to call my car too. Yeah. Let me just we say okay. So sorry, I cut you short. So it's up to you to decide how many details do you want your class to have, or rather how many functionalities. See, as you can see here, we have Toyota Corolla that has appeared twice. So let me just change this. Toyota Allo. So yeah, you can change your method to contain as many things as you want in your class. And as we said, that you can create multiple instances of a class, or rather, you can create many objects of one class. Okay, as you've seen here, kindly mute. So as you've seen here, we've had one object called my car. We've also had my object. We've also said my car too as our second object. And once we printed them, you can see we have Toyota, Corolla, Toyota, Allo. So that's basically how to work with classes, objects, methods, constructor. I hope it's a bit familiar. I hope it's familiar. Let me see by show once. I hope it's not a bit. I hope it's not terrible. Is it really bad?
Alan,
Yes.
can you clarify a bit on the methods on the constructors?
Okay. So constructor, this is what we use to show the properties of a class. Okay. In line 9, we said car is a class name. Then you open the brackets. This dot brand, comma, this dot model. So we said so. Do you remember when you said parameters?
Yes.
So this is a parameterized constructor. A constructor which contains parameters. And in our parameters in this case, we have this dot brand, this dot model, which are the properties of a class. So a method is used to show the behaviors of a class. Okay. In this case, we're using the method to show the information of the class. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So so a method is a function. So once you create your object, for example, in line 20, you've created the object very well, which is the instance of class car. In line 25, for us to see Toyota Corolla, brand Toyota, model Corolla, we have to call the function that contained that print. What was our function name? Show details, which is our method. Okay? Yeah, so that's why we are calling the method using the object. We are calling show details using object myCar. That's how they are related. I don't know, is it confusing? Are you confused?
Maybe just to add on what Alan has said, like think of a constructor as a blueprint of how an object would look like. Just think of it this way: like you're telling the object from the class that whenever an object is created, it should have like these two attributes, something like that. I don't know if you're getting it now.
Oh, yes, I'm getting.
Yeah, whenever an object is created from this class, it should have this and this. In this case, is the brand and the name. I think the brand and the name, I'm not sure. You're getting it now?
Yes.
Maybe somebody can go to GPT and ask the same question. What is an object? What's a class? What's a method? What's a constructor in OOP? Then send us that. Like, I'm trying to get the best diagram. Someone can give us a very short description, then we can expand on it. Yeah, we actually have the explanation just below it. I think we can proceed. Yeah, so class declaration. The class has two properties, brand and model. That's the Toyota Corolla. The constructor car initializes these properties. So the constructor is what you use to initialize, or rather to refer to those properties of a class. So object creation. So this is where I want us to be very careful. You have to know how do you create an object from a class. Remember you said that an object is an instance of a class. So for us to have an object, we must refer to the class name. You give yourself an object name, then you refer to your specific values now for brand and model. So create an object myCar of the car class with specific values for brand and model. So specific values is where now we say this is brand, this dot model. Yeah. OP, just like any other example that we've given, is like organizing according to real world objects. Not just boring functions and logic, it's all about data, objects, and what they can do. Think of objects as containers that hold both data, which is attributes, and their behavior, which are methods. So we've seen how that is being written. So we've asked this question of what constructors have. So let's now look at constructor. A constructor is like a welcome party for your object. So it's a special function that runs automatically when an object is created. So it runs automatically once the object is created. You can see it here. If we've created our object here, and we have our constructor here, right? its main job is to set up the object's properties. Object properties and make sure everything is in place. So, do you remember our properties of the object? Random, model. Okay. In that, the constructor has the same name as the class. No guess name, no guess name here. So, what do you mean it has the same name as class? Once you are writing an object, we started with the word car, which is our class name, my car. Then now we have the entire, information about our object. So our object contains class name, which is car. But when now we are referring to that object, we use its specific. So what we're trying to say here, writing an object, you need to start with your class name. Then once you're naming your object, please do not confuse yourself by writing something that's totally different from the class. Do not write my car and then you come say my vehicle. Yes, they're closely related, but you see, just maintain the word car. You'd rather even say your car, my car, his car, something like that, just to ensure that you at least contain your class name inside your object name. Okay. So there are two main types of constructors in that, and they are ready to bring your objects to life. Default constructor. So a default constructor is automatically created if no other constructor is specified. So you have a default constructor that is empty inside. It has no values inside. It initializes instances variables their default values. So null for objects, 0 for integers, etc. So as you can see in this case, we have a class, my details, string name is equals to unknown, int is equals to int age is equals to void main. Inside void main, we've written our method. My details, sorry, let me just follow this. The my details class has default constructor which doesn't take any parameter. Inside the constructor, you can add initialization code if needed. In the main function, an instance of my details, then my details is created using default constructor. So in this case, you've seen that we've written an object from my details. An object is called my details with now small m, and then which equals it equals the class name. But now inside this constructor we have nothing. You can see here we have nothing inside the parameter. We have nothing inside there. There is no parameterized list. We have nothing inside the parentheses. So we can say this is a default construct. It contains no value inside it. You remember here when we wrote my car, here was a car, then inside this was Toyota Corolla. That's an empty default. So you can use it when you don't need to put values into a parameterized list just to make it empty. That's the purpose of it. It's default. It just counts by default. As long as you just capture it as parentheses and nothing inside, that's default. Okay. So parameterized constructor is just the same as the one you've done here. Okay, with the parameterized constructor, we have arguments inside it. That's why we had car, list of brand, comma, list of model. This is already the argument in. Don't even need any other thing to do with it. So long as you have values inside it, that's parameterized. It contains parameters. Hence, when we are writing our object, to ensure that we put values inside the construct. So parameterized constructor allow you to pass a value during object creation. This is what we are talking about. We pass value during object creation. So when you are writing an object, you have a parameterized constructor, ensure that you have values inside when you are creating an object, because now you're creating an instance. Right. So I think you can just have a look at this. Constructor. Use example 2. Have a neighbor is playing song. We want to enjoy life. So as we run, I don't know, from the look of things, can you understand how this code looks like? This one. In case you want it to be very elegant, just put that in your PPT, then let just understand it on your own, as you also understand this on the screen. Just have two observations. Then you can ask questions from it. Have you seen it? Are you able to understand something from it? Is it bad?
Excuse me, Alan. We cannot copy from the chat. I don't know.
Can I put in the chat? I don't know where do I put it. Can I put in the Q&A? Somebody text from Q&A. Somebody type from Q&A, then I can paste it. Okay. Be able to copy it there. Patricia. Okay. So just absorb that code. Look at it. give GPT to give you the simplest explanation of it, like let it look like you are totally green. Then you can just, I think you can use like 3 minutes for that, then you can update. So is it now better? Let's say yes. Better. Is it bad? Do you explain?
Okay, Alan, for me, I think it's we have created an instant called my details with a parameterized constructors, which allows you to create instance with specific values.
So in this case, yeah, that's actually correct. It's actually a good try. Somebody else? So from number one, are we able to see how we created the class my details, giving it properties, name and age, string name, age. Are we together after that?
Yes.
After that,
Yes.
we had our constructor. You see that our constructor is usually used to show our properties, right?
Yes.
So my details.
With that's the method.
Okay, this is actually the constructor. My detail, which contains the class name, this dot name, comma this dot age. Okay.
Okay.
This is the constructor that contains our properties.
Okay.
After that, we get into our void main function. Here, we are creating an instance of my details using the parameterized construct. We are creating an instance of class my details. right? What did you say when you say we are writing an object? Say the object has to contain the class name. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
my details, this one is the class name, and this one is the object name. Notice the capital M and the capital D and the small m, sorry. From both.
Yes.
Are you seeing the difference between the two?
The object is common case.
I can see. I can see the
Okay.
difference.
Yeah, super. I like that. Is equals to, okay? You can just say is equals to the construct, okay?
Okay.
Or rather the class with a parameterized construct.
Okay.
My details, brackets, here is where now we set parameters.
Yes.
With Alan and 25.
25.
All right?
All right.
Then here you just print. You can print it however you want to print. This one it does not really have any specific. So it's
Okay.
just a print.
Will there be a problem if I start with the age instead of the name?
Well, you know how it's written here. It has to go in that order. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Because this guy now will assume this one is a string, so it expects a string from
Okay.
your list. Yeah.
Great. I got it now. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody else?
What if it's there where the string name is, you define the variables and then still leave the construct, the parameters down here? Will it change or will it throw an error?
Where? Just guide me.
Like at line 2, you define string name, you name maybe Eric, and then age you maybe put 20.
I say string name is equals to Eric.
Yeah, like the other one which you are the
Just trying to put that. Somebody can guess. Then what do we do next?
what will be the, will it throw an error while outputting, or will it
It will throw an error. You know what? You know, an object is an instance of a class. So we know that a class here has string name and int age. So we are going to create an instance from it. We are not really going to copy the exact thing in the class. We are just going to create an example of the class. Okay? Yeah, we are just going to create an occurrence of class that has a string name and integer age. So if we give these values here, so what will be the point of now writing the object? There will be no point here. Like what we said when you're writing a recipe, you can create a recipe that can cook 3 different foods, right? But if you go directly to cooking the food directly, what will be the point of you now going to cook the same food using the same recipe and you've already done it? You see now it will not achieve now or it will not achieve object, it will not achieve the class. It will just have some mixture, but it will not achieve or be object.
Alan.
Yes.
Maybe also it will not have the reusability ability, because if you already define, you cannot create different objects with different attributes.
You cannot?
Like you cannot create different objects with different attributes. Like if you say that name, if you define the name, you cannot create like 2 objects that have different names, because you will have already defined the name there.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
will not really be able to do that. But once you have the recipe here, you can have many objects, right? Like once you have the recipe there, you can create many foods. You can have here Sharon 22. But remember to change the object name. Remember to change this. Should you do a try? Okay. So just to ensure that everyone knows that you can create many objects from one class. So my details. So how do we name this? Let me name this my detail, right? Then Sharon. Let's give it to just to see if we can have multiple objects of one class. It's not printed. My detail. Okay, so long as you have one class, you can create multiple objects of it. Is it now clear? Ama it's better. Is it better? Are we better than you were in the morning? Or things are getting deeper? Is it deeper? I want us to touch on even one paradigm or two paradigms before you go home.
Alan,
Excuse me, sir. Suppose
Yeah.
you wanted to add user input, how would you go through? Like, which process would you take so that you have the user input particular items into the class? Is it possible to do that?
Yeah, there's something called int.io, input output. And that one I gave out as an assignment, I think, week one. When we were talking about variables. Did somebody attempt it?
hello, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
I attempted, but when I tried to run it, I was getting when I was putting the inputs, like for example 1, 2, I was getting null exceptions, null errors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can somebody do this for us? Somebody text me in the Q&A. Okay. Sure. So enable this to have user input and output. You can just use like 2 minutes. What succeeded? Succeeded. Who succeeded? Guys, you should be able to use your AI. I don't want to do it with you. I want you to do it.
Alan,
Mhm.
can I share the repo for the one that I did so that we try running it?
Yeah, but we want for this case now. That one you can solve it later.
Okay.
Guys, we are running out of time, by the way. We have like 3 paradigms to count. So when somebody completes that, kindly let us know. Can you proceed as you do that? As you once got clear.
Alan,
Can you talk a bit this keyword? Can you talk a bit about that?
Which keyword?
This keyword, yeah, this keyword in Dart, like the way now we are accessing when we are passing it in the constructor. Can you talk a bit about that? Where is it pointing?
Once we put something in constructor.
Okay, like okay, there in my details, that parameterized constructor, when you are passing those parameters, we are using this keyword, yeah.
Which keyword?
This keyword, this dot
This.
name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain about how it is pointing to where it is pointing, like the way we do in JavaScript?
Oh, so in this guy, in that, rather we have this conventional ways of writing things, and some are fixed. So for you to use a constructor to name your properties of a class, you must use the word this dot name. Okay.
Yeah.
So that one is I don't know. Have you heard of reserved words?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's among those that is just a conventional way of referring to a constructor, referring to rather writing a constructor. This dot name, comma this dot age. So that clearly tells you that I'm covering properties of the class in that program. How do you write it in Java? JavaScript.
It is the same. In Python, we use self.
Yeah. So you see now it's just they are a bit conserved. Like I can say it's just a syntax thing that for you to do this, you have to do this. Good thing is that it's not really something very weird. Something you can just understand within a second, right? For you to write a constructor, this dot the property, this dot the property.
Okay. What about when we pass this dot name in our method? In our method, where will it be pointing?
So once you talk about a method, for example, in this case, can I open our first example?
Yeah.
So in our example, remember we said that a method is used to show behavior, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, we use the method to show our details of now the property, or of now the class. Like we knew our class had a brand and a model. So here, method to show the class measure. So as you can see here, we don't have this dot brand, this dot model.
When we do that, can you do that when we see how it works?
Like we put it here.
Yeah, in the method.
No, we can't put it in the method. That will be writing a constructor here.
Okay, so it's different the way we do it in that, different from JavaScript.
Yeah, somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that, just use it to write a constructor. Okay. Just use it to write a constructor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another question, in the method, can we use an anonymous function?
We can try.
Okay.
Why not? We said a function is a function, right? In fact, it will work. It's a function. Oh, here we used an arrow function. Sorry. You want us to use an anonymous function?
Yes.
Right. Okay, anonymous function will definitely work. But now, what you need to be careful is how now you verify to your anonymous function. You see, now you are going to call the method using the object. So, either your function will just contain variables, so that when you come to your object, you will be referring to your variables here. You will be replacing this with your variable, right? Yeah. But why would you make it anonymous and you want to call it like, unless you would want to make it more, more advanced. There's that window, you can make it more advanced based on how you prefer. There are so many ways you can use the arrow, anonymous, but I would not prefer anonymous. In this case, one, I would not. It would make it a bit complex for somebody to see. But I'm sure you can use it. So long as it's a function, it will work. Have you tried it yourself?
I will try it.
Yeah, you can try it, but I'm sure it will work. But let's say for the purposes of explanations, let's stick to our basic.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So there's so many ways of doing this things, guys. So let's now talk about object-oriented programming paradigms. We said we have encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and the last one. Guys, you forgot it.
Encapsulation.
Abstraction.
Abstraction.
Yeah. So we said encapsulation. We talked about a capsule. It's a medicine that contains things inside. Yeah. The powder. The powder is actually the medicine. The outer coat is not the medicine. So data encapsulation keeps the class implementation detail safe from users. So here we're just trying to hide your data. Not really hide. We just try to make it them safe, just for control of access. This enhances security and promotes cleaner code. So how to achieve encapsulation in that? Hide your secrets, declare class properties as private. So this is the first thing now we'll be talking about. First, declare your properties as private by prefixing with an underscore. So once you see a class property prefixed with an underscore, just know that's the private class property. This locks away your valuable data. But I don't know how this will be private, yet we'll just be seeing the property. Don't know. Maybe applying it. Public access. So for that one to be, for you now to control the access of your properties, we'll use something like, we'll use two methods. Okay. We'll create getter and setter methods to control access to properties, to private property. So these methods act as the keys to your vault. So these are the keys now to access your properties. So what is a getter method? A getter method is a friendly guide that safely reveals private property values. So once you use a getter method, it's just like you are getting it. Okay? You are getting it. You are getting now these private properties. You are now revealing them privately by using getter methods. Setter methods, vigilant bouncers that allow authorized changes to private properties. So let's say my radius was 10. I want to set it to 12. I will use a setter method because I'm trying to make changes to private property. So key thing is use underscores to declare class properties to keep them private. Once you want to see them, use getter methods, which enables us to get. If you want to make changes to it, use setter methods, which allow us to make changes to a private property. So if you just have those three, you will be able to achieve encapsulation. So let's have a look. It's a long code. I think the best you can do, allow me to take this code so that we can run it and explain all of it instead of maybe typing entirety. Let's file encapsulation. Encapsulation tags. I'm going to paste it in my test. Okay. So let us go step by step. Okay. Are we all seeing it? Are we all seeing this?
Yes.
I know it's a bit long, but let's just see. So somebody text me on the Q&A so that we can also have this code on your machine in case you cannot access. Somebody use Q&A, please. Yeah, I just want us to run this type answer. So if you have your machine, ensure that you are running this together. Let's just go step by step. So class circle, I'm sure this one I'm sure by now we know how to write a class, right? Class circle. And then private property with underscore, double underscore radius. In those public cases, we just say, string name, int age. But here, we're saying underscore radius. The underscore makes this property private. Right? Constructor to initialize the radius. Is that my constructor guy who said this? Circle is dot underscore radius. So always do not forget your underscore because that's your private property. Okay. Get a method to access the private radius. Do you remember what we said get out? It allows us to see, to reveal those properties private. Getter. So we know that our radius is, of course, a decimal, or rather, it could be a decimal, it could be a whole number. So for us to capture entire of it, let's just use double because 10.0 is equals to 10. So double will make everything work. Double get. So this is the getter. Get radius, then arrow function, which still refers to our private property. So this one we would have just used our normal function, but now just to make it cleaner, use our use arrow function. Remember, this is the method that is used to get. So this method is written with an arrow function. I'm sure it's a bit. Does it look cleaner or shorter?
Yes.
It's a bit cleaner, right? A bit shorter
Yeah.
also. Yeah. So now we've accessed, we've now got it. Like we've seen it, we've revealed it private. So we now want to set a method to update the radius with validation. So we say that setup are used to make changes to our private property. So in this case, we are going to set radius. We are going to set radius, and we also validate. because I'm sure there's no circle with 0 radius, right? Or do you have? Have you seen one? Would that really be a circle or a dot? You see? So set radius. So here we're just writing a method radius. Then inside the parentheses, we say double value. Okay? Value. Remember, in this case, we are trying to give our radius a new value. So this value is just used here to stand in for radius. So double value. Then we validate. We want to ensure that the value is greater than 0. Okay? We want to ensure that our value is greater than 0. So if value is greater than 0, and then this takes us to if else. I don't know if you did some practice on it, it should be something easy to talk about. If value is greater than 0, then our function state underscore radius is equals to the value. So here we've now equated our private property to the value that we've set. Okay? If value is greater than 0, then our radius equals to that value. Else, print radius must be greater than 0. So basically here we are just trying to ensure that the radius is above 0. And we use the setup method to set the new value. Right? Are you together up to that point? Anybody lost? Anybody? Guys, I'm not saying you should be lost, but nobody's lost. Okay, that's brilliant. I like that. Are you there, Gideon Project?
Yes.
Are you there, Tumiso?
Yes, I am.
Grace? Are you there, Grace?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, we are now going to calculate the area of the circle. We are going to use a method to calculate the area of the circle. So double calculate area. So we all know that calculating the area of a circle is oftenly you will get either a decimal value or a whole value. So because you don't know what the output will be, the best thing to do is use a double. So double calculate area. Then inside our method function, we return pi times radius times underscore radius times underscore radius. So this is how to achieve encapsulation. The key thing is hiding your properties. I don't know what you see. I not have an output because our radius is not yet defined. We might have an output. Okay. Let's see. We had just completed writing our method to calculate the area. So I ran it pretty much well. So now we want to create the instance of the object. So okay. Void main. Okay, I know we thought it was ended, but let's just hold on. We want to move smoothly. Void main, I was just trying to feel like it's not that long. So void main, create an instance of the circle. So here we're just creating an object of the circle. So circle. I don't know, are we now able to see this line 29, how it is written without even getting confused? Circle, circle, circle. Is it okay? Like, are we able to see how we are writing that object?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Instead an object you write using a class name, right?
Yes.
So class name, the object name, then now your constructor. Or rather your class name with your parameter. So accessing the radius using getter. So we are going to get, we are just going to see our radius. Print initial radius, which is circle dot radius, which is this guy, circle dot radius. Calculate and print the area. So here we are going to we are going to call our calculate area method using our object circle. So we are going to refer to this guy using our object circle. That's what is done in line 45. Are we cruising nicely or it's bad? It should not be bad. What did we say get us set us do?
Can you go? I didn't get about the current information that you're speaking about. Yeah, the creating an instance of circles.
Oh, line 28, 29.
Yeah, line 29.
Oh, we said when you want to create an object, the things that you should do when you're creating an object, just ensure you have your class name, your object name, like the instance of this circle is circle small one, which equals your class with your parameters, or rather your property. It is just like say a constructor, because we said a constructor is this guy which contains the gradient, right? Right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's just how to write an object.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So what did we say setters do?
Yeah. Pardon?
What did you say setters do? Setter.
Make changes.
To private properties, right?
Right.
Yeah, we make changes to private properties. You cannot change the radius of that circle without using setter. So circle.radius is equals to 7. Remember it was 5, right?
Yes.
So we've just updated it. Access, updated radius and area. So print updated radius, circle.radius. Well, I'm sure when it comes to print, you guys don't usually struggle. Like it's not that bad. So we're just going to print circle.radius. Then we print the updated area.
Yeah.
Let me first cut this. We don't need this at first. So can you now see our area of our circle?
Yes.
Okay. So our initial radius is 5, which is here. Okay.
Yes.
Accessing our area. We've used 5. What will be our area? 5, 5, 5.
Mhm.
If you have a calculator, this should be the value.
Mhm.
We used our setter to set our new radius to 7. Updated radius is now 7.
Yes.
Hence, our updated area will be 153.
Okay.
Remember that guy that said, if your radius is less than 0, like, it's not valid. Like, you cannot have radius that is 0. So if you run that, what do you say?
Your audio is kind. Oh, I don't know if it's my end because I can see a display here saying my network is unstable.
It should be on your end.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting lost because it's somehow
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. So we said that radius must be greater than 0, and we tried to, give radius negative 3.0, which output our radius must be greater than 0. So encapsulation is all about privacy.
Okay.
It's all about privacy. Yeah, I'm open to any.
Thank you.
How is it? Is it now better? Is it is it better?
It's getting better.
Anybody else?
What's the point of making a variable private if you're going to access it?
Yes.
What is the point
of making a variable private?
What's the point of making a variable private? Yeah, if you're still going to use it to access it using the getter or setter.
Oh, so encapsulation is hiding details. It's control of access. Okay. So you give your class private property. So when now you move forward, and now you start applying this into real life applications, there are things that the user should not see. Okay? It's just a level of control of access. Yes, you will see it here, but now, we've just seen it because we've printed. Otherwise, we have just told the user to input their own radius. We cannot show him the initial one. We can just put their own. Maybe
So basically it allows safe interactions.
Yeah, it's actually for safety control of access.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So the circle has a private variable radius, which is not directly accessible from outside the class. You see, it's not accessible outside the class. The constructor initializes the underscore radius variable. So the main thing is accessing your property outside the class. So it's not directly accessible unless you use the setter or getter. Okay?
Yeah, and how will that work across different files?
Different files?
Yeah, like let's say you have, let's say for file 1 and file 2, and you're trying to access a private class that is on file 2 that you want to use on file 1.
That's where now the getter and setter comes in.
Okay.
Yeah. So as much as we are hiding it, we are still showing you how to access it. But now it has control of access. You have to get access.
So the get function, the get is a method, eh?
Yeah, getter and setter are methods that are used to get for getter method and setter. Functions are method, guys. Are methods.
Is it a keyword? Because set and get a keyword.
Yeah, they are keywords.
But functions, we define functions. How come they are now functions?
They are not. They are not functions.
You normally define functions, but you calling them functions somehow.
They are methods.
Oh, methods. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. But for you to use it, ensure you write the word set and get. Okay. So I don't know. Is it? I know the example has been very long, right?
No, it's quite okay. It's quite okay, but that elaborate.
So inheritance is about child inheriting from the father. I don't really want to go into this because I know it's you need to absorb what you've done, right? Okay. And let me give you a small task. Perform encapsulation using okay, any example. Perform encapsulation using any example, and feel free to use AI for your own understanding. Then we can see how it's done. Apart from, we've done the area of a circle, right? So perform encapsulation using something different. I don't want to touch on the other paradigms because I know you need to digest this.